Okay, I am really sorry. I was going live at about 1 o'clock, 3.5 hours ago. And just as I was getting things ready to go, my internet went out. Called the company, the carrier, Spectrum. And what do they say? They say, we're down for maintenance. We're going to have this cleared up as soon as we can. So I'm like, great. Last time maintenance was like an hour. I couldn't call out on my phone at all. I couldn't get anything on my phone. No, I didn't have any 4G. I didn't have any, nothing. Jimmy was able to call Sharon, tell her what was happening. They were still in a Zoom that was still running. Then I'm like, what the freak is going on? So I laid down. I tried to go to sleep. I figured, okay, an hour, nothing. 2 hours, still didn't have anything. I started to read something, and then I just checked. I couldn't sleep. I kind of laid down a little bit in the beginning, but now I'm like, I know I ended Zoom, Linda. I started a new Zoom. Okay, so yeah, that's where I was, and so I'm sorry, but I just want to go over what I had planned for tonight, because otherwise I'm going to be a day behind. Now, someone also has asked me to please cover Adventures with Purpose arrest. Now, I said yesterday, the only thing I know about those people, and I guess Jeremy Lasik, is that they were a channel that many people thought was a great channel that went out and would try to recover vehicles. People try to find people they found, and probably the biggest notoriety around here is Kylie Rodney, right? And that's when, I heard about them. They were going out there to find the car. They found the car. They found her, this and that. But in the last few months, I think it started, I think it started in the summer or so, or maybe July, August, I don't know. I know, Linda, I haven't put the new Zoom in there yet. I will. Don't worry. So I haven't seen, followed it a lot. I knew early on there was there was an accusation or something going around this founder and some type of essay of a young child. Back, this founder is now 47 years old or so, and so back when this family member was around 7 or 8 years old, and this founder was 17 or 18 years old. And in the beginning, we were told it was our essay, right? And then I know there were some things that came out, and then not a lot came out, but someone has been asking me, please, 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 would you cover this? And so I am looking at it a little bit. I'm just going to let you know I am looking at it a little bit. I don't know that I will or I won't yet. Yeah, there's an arrest, Lex Luthor. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Go look it up. Put it into Google. You'll see the arrest. There's an arrest. I'll tell you when the arrest was. He was booked into the San Pete County Jail in Utah after being initially charged in November. So it was over the 3-decade-old crime. Okay. He was arrested on January 5th. And that's the founder of Adventures with Purpose. Now, so since then, now again, I have looked at this very little. I was not even going to touch this, but I have actually 2 people that are begging me to do this. So like I said, I'm going to start doing some research and see if I'm going to do it. But the other members, if I understand this correctly, of Adventures with Purpose, and I did see this, when this broke in November, they, wanted to get away from this, right? So I'm talking about the other people that were on the dive team, or the other guy with the long beard that you would see sit there. They went and opened their own channels. They wanted like nothing to do with this as far as I can see. Now let me just see, let me just see on something else. Okay, so there are actually two channels for Adventures with Purpose, and one channel is still at 2.82 million subscribers, and if they took a, let's say they took a hit, let me see, of course here in November when it broke of 40,000 subscribers, and then in December they gained 30,000 back. So it really hasn't impacted that. Their views, well, they were riding high, but not as high as they have been on the month of Kylie Rodney, which was, it was September, right? What was it? September, right? Well, let's just say September they had 15 million views. October they dropped to 12 million views, and in November they dropped to 5 million views. That could also mean that they flushed a lot of videos or privated them. And then in December, 5 million views. So a huge hit in views, not so much in subscribers. And still earning, roughly $18,000 a month on that channel. And the other channel has 611,000. And looks like it was riding a high. Kylie Roddy came down. They gained followers, so didn't look like they lost any subs. But they dipped down their thing. Okay, and on that one, for some reason, this looks like this just started up. This channel looks like it just started up November 29th with 547,000 followers. So I don't know if this is an old channel yet or not. I really don't know if there's any content on it. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? This is TikTok. Silly me. This is their TikTok. No wonder. Okay, so that's that. If anybody follows them, I do believe that everybody left there and either started their own channel, or does anybody follow them that knows? Did they start their own channel? I'm not sure. Lex Luthor says, in an email exchange with the alleged victim during which he blamed his family history of Mormonism, he is said to have written, "I am so sorry for the things that we cannot change." Yeah, and that's what I mean. There is some stuff that the reason I say this is because, okay, obviously I'm not a Mormon, right? Obviously I did not grow up that way. Obviously I don't know how he grew up. Okay, I've seen things, right, where these people you knew since all of the AWP co-workers resigned, there were videos that Jared cannot drop on his channel with them in it. So yeah, so he must have done some flushing of that. And so there was a lot of views lost in 1 month, but really not a lot of subscribers. So meaning that the subscribers stood with him. I don't know, because I don't watch his channel. And so puts me at a disadvantage. I don't know him. I don't watch his channel. The only thing that I watched was just the very small piece of Kylie Rodney's car being retrieved, and did not know, couldn't even have told you at that time which one was which one. And I remember when somebody was telling me, I was like, is he the one with the beard? Is he the one without the beard? Is he this one? Is he that one? I didn't even know at that time. So you wonder what made the family members, cousins come forward after the Kylie Rodney case. I think the girls who were abused felt as if everyone looked at him as a superhero when he was not. Okay, so I don't know, like I said, a lot about it. I have been asked, please do it. I'm going to look into it. I think it's a very triggering topic for probably a lot of people. So I'm going to say what's going on, because you've got a lot of things at play there. You've got the religion, you've got the family member abuse issues, the SA between family members. You have just a lot of things there. So we'll see. That's what I'm going to say at this time. We'll see. I'll look into it and see. But right now, what I want to do is talk about the hearing. So the hearing for Bryan Kohberger took place today. He was there with his attorney. He did have another attorney. They did mention another name other than Ann Taylor was with him, a gentleman. But Ann Taylor was the one that stood up and spoke. And she said that Bryan waives his right to a speedy preliminary hearing and opts to they want to put that out, to schedule it out. So she said for June, the second, third, fourth week. The prosecution had no objection, said that Ann Taylor reached out to them, but their schedule would better accommodate July, yet they're okay with June. So the judge scheduled it for June 26th. It's supposed to take maybe 4 or 5 days. That is, if it goes off then. You know how this stuff gets put off and blah, 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 right? Okay. He had some cuts, scratches on his face. Now, Brian Enton did check, and even though there's a gag order, it was said to be caused by a razor, according to the sheriff. And other than that, there was no plea issued on his behalf. He did not, plead. And they are, of course, requesting the time in order to get their case together. So we have that, right? And I'm trying to think. And then there's some neighbors that spoke out. So there was one neighbor that spoke out wearing a hoodie. He only spoke out, if he was, he wanted anonymity. So he said that he racked his brain over and over and over looking for anything that he could say was really out of place with Bryan, and he said he couldn't find anything. He said that Bryan did say to him, hey, did you hear about that, those kids that were murdered in Moscow? And the guy said, yeah. And he said, well, I hear they don't have any suspects. Something like that. That's what he said to him. And he also said, let me see. That was about it on that one. And then another person came forward from the apartments they interviewed, and it was another PhD student, but in a different field. And he said he spoke to Bryan about his field, criminology, and that he has always liked working with the police, law enforcement. Talked to him about that. He said he also spoke to him about serial killers. And he also said that he had watched that Netflix Dahmer series, okay? So we have that. Now, I think there's a couple of other neighbors that came through. So let me just get... Let's see, we have that one. Oh, yes. He told the first neighbor that I mentioned, the one that wanted the anonymity, that they didn't have any suspects and it was a crime of passion. That's what he said. And let's see. So then there's another neighbor, Aaron Dash, 28-year-old engineering student. He got a new downstairs neighbor in his Steptoe Village apartment complex in August. He understood why the stranger was so eager to make friends. Dash said Bryan Kohberger, who investigators have charged with the murders of the 4 Idaho students, went out of his way to introduce himself and try to make plans to hang out, according to this neighbor. He asked me what I was studying, where I was from, and he moved to Pullman from India for his studies. He said he would just make friendly small talk. When the manhunt dragged on for over a month, let's see, it seemed that he was walking away undetected, but interviews with Dash, his roommate and others who casually knew Kohberger paint a different picture, one of a man who wasn't always introverted and could sometimes have an outgoing demeanor that left people feeling impressed or maybe put off. Popping in and out of the Pullman, Washington coffee shops, he dropped by local craft beer establishments, attempted to hang out with his neighbors. He didn't stand out as unhinged, but rather as a sometimes chatty guy whose lengthy conversations might throw a wrench in his neighbor's days. He lived beneath Dash and his roommate in a boxy unit at Steptoe Village Apartments, a popular development that houses graduate students. Let's see here. Dash's roommate, who asked Insider not to name him out of fear of harassment, said Kohberger gave him his phone number and repeatedly suggested that they socialize. He talked to everyone. He was a chatty person, not charming, but outgoing, said the roommate of Dash, not the roommate of Bryan, the roommate of Dash. He would ask me to hang out. One day, the roommate suggested to Kohberger that they work out together. He seemed like a very fit person, so I asked him if he wanted to come to my gym with me. Kohberger had to decline because he had a commitment. Later, Kohberger asked the roommate to grab a coffee. This time, the roommate had a commitment. Kohberger continued striking up conversations each time they passed each other. Kohberger explained he was from Pennsylvania and liked living in eastern Washington. Over time, the man started to avoid Kohberger if he saw him coming, not because he didn't like him, but because their talks tended to drag on. He said that when he saw Kohberger approach, he would quicken his step to appear in a hurry so it wouldn't look awkward to give Kohberger just a passing hello rather than, stop and chat. He said, I know if I start, he won't stop. His relationship with his downstairs neighbors, a couple with small children, was less friendly. Angela described him as an insomniac who kept them awake at night by pacing and intermittently running his garbage disposal, sometimes until 4 a.m. She said she considered having words with him, but decided not to in the hope that he would be equally gracious if her crying children ever kept him awake. Outside of his apartment complex, Kohberger did not stand out to many. Katja Julius, a bartender at the Land, which is the closest bar and restaurant to Kohberger's apartment, said that she'd have to crane her neck back to make eye contact with Kohberger, who stands at 6 foot tall, when she served him. But she said she remembered him simply because of his height and the last name on his credit card. He was normal, she said. A server at the brewery in Pullman also remembered Kohberger stopping in, but nothing standing out as particularly odd. Many who knew him more closely, though, have now taken steps to disassociate from the heinous crimes investigators have charged him with. At Wilson Short Hall, where Kohberger studied on campus, his photo hung in a first-floor framed display of criminology students. By Friday, January 6th, the blank space in that montage was ripped. Paper inside indicated the photo had been torn out. Several professors of criminology declined to speak with the press about him. A criminology student named Emily, who asked to be identified only by her first name, had Kohberger as a teaching assistant. She said he had been gruff and difficult to deal with early on in the semester, but after the murders, he seemed to lose interest in teaching and just assigned his students to write essays and handed them back uniform high grades. Afterwards, he didn't grade at all. He was not a great teaching assistant. Okay, let's see here. 4 days after the murders, Kohberger arrived at his appointment he had an appointment, for what did he have the appointment for? Kept his appointment through the college towns. Near the nervous residents awaited any news. Some left communities altogether. In fact, Kohberger was one of only a few students who kept appointments at a medical office in Pullman. So the receptionist there said that 4 days after the murder, that Kohberger arrived at his appointment in a black North Face jacket and was so friendly with staff members that they took notice. The receptionist at the office, who declined to give out her name because discussing the interaction might violate medical privacy laws, said Kohberger acted so friendly that it prompted her boss to comment. She said, "He's so nice and charming. She never says that about anyone." I said, "Yeah, he really was. He scheduled an ordinary follow-up appointment for the spring semester." -2 said Kohberger remained friendly in recent months and never went without his usual warm greeting. They don't say what he's there for, but if he was there for any kind of a wound treatment or something like that, that would be noted in his medical notes, and they can be subpoenaed, of course. So let's see. He became busier as the end of the fall semester nears, so he began taking steps to cut short his interactions with his seemingly gregarious neighbor. This experience, being friendly but not friends, is typical in the communities of Pullman and Moscow. Tyler Engbretson, a 21-year-old Moscow native, and said residents in both communities were familiar with many, but friends with few. Tyler said he was particularly touched by the murders because Ethan Chapin was a regular at his parents' vape and pipe store in Pullman. Still, while recognizing faces is easy, making friends isn't. If you really want to know this town, it's a lonely town. It takes a lot of effort to meet people here, he said. And so, what do I say? A lot of the ones that are, like this receptionist, I still say, grain of salt. If it's true, she would go to the investigators, right? If it's true, and they would then subpoena the records, which I'm sure they've done if it was legit. Okay, so let me go. What else did we want to talk about? Oh, Lisa Marie Presley, right? She had a cardiac arrest. Apparently, her housekeeper found her. Well, I say today, but it was on the today is the 13th, Friday the 13th. On the 12th, unresponsive. And apparently Danny Keough, her ex-husband, lives at the home, and apparently he was coming in around the same time that the housekeeper found her, and he performed CPR. Well, I guess she called 911 until the paramedics arrived. They had to give her at least one dose of epinephrine to get her pulse back, and with no idea how long she was out. And it didn't sound good from the very get-go, because they said she was in full cardiac arrest, meaning, and no pulse. So probably rendered her, I'm just thinking, her brain activity, right? Anyway, they brought her to the hospital. Her mother, Priscilla, her daughter, Riley, was with her 33-year-old daughter, and Priscilla Presley issued a statement, expressing what happened, asking for prayers, and then several hours later, it was announced that, she was on life support. She was put in a medically induced coma. She was getting the best possible care she could be getting. And then around, I think it was 6, 7 o'clock or so, like that, that she passed away at the age of 54. Now, Elvis's birthday, his 88th birthday, was January 8th, I believe. So she just spoke for that. She was also at the Golden Globes on the 10th. And so let's look at some pictures of what was going on then. Let's see there. So at the Golden Globes, she appeared like that, and I want to show you where her father's birthday. At her father's birthday, which was a few days earlier. Hold on, I have to make this larger. She went out and spoke to fans. Here she is. And she also cut a cake, which I'll make larger here. And it's driving me crazy. I don't know why that's doing that. Hang on a minute. I see. Okay. And this was her outside there. She gave a small speech then. So she leaves behind her mother, of course, her 33-year-old daughter, Riley, and her son. She lost her son 2 years ago, Benjamin. So that obviously deeply affected her. I was reading something. I want to see if I can. She said in a Twitter post to him on his birthday, she said, "My beautiful, beautiful angel, I worship the ground you walked on the earth and now in heaven. My heart and soul went with you. The depth of the pain is suffocating, and the bottomless without you every moment of every day. I will never be the same. Please wait for me, my love, and hold my hand while I stay to continue to protect and raise your little sisters and to be here for Riley. I know you would want that. Happy birthday, my sweet boy. You are much too good for this world." And she wrote another something in about her grief after losing her son. Now, Priscilla Presley shared a statement announcing that her daughter had died by saying, "It is with a heavy heart that I must share the devastating news that my beautiful daughter Lisa Marie has left us. She was the most passionate, strong, and loving woman I have ever known. We ask for privacy as we try to deal with this profound loss. Thank you for the love and prayers. At this time, there will be no further comment." Back in August of 2022, Lisa Marie wrote about her attempts to move on from her son Benjamin's death on National Grief Awareness. And she said, "I can understand why people may want to avoid you once a terrible tragedy has struck, especially a parent losing their child, because it is truly your worst nightmare," she wrote in her essay, which was published in People magazine. Her son was 27 years old at the time of his death, and he died through a self-inflicted gunshot wound. She shared her son with her first husband, Danny Keogh, whom she married in 1988 and divorced in 1994. She admitted that she kept her distance from parents of other people whose children died, something that seemed to haunt her. She said, "I can recall a couple of times in my life where I knew parents who lost their child, and while I could be there for them when it happened, I avoided them after and never bothered to follow up with them because they quite literally became a representative of my biggest fear." She said she also low-key judged them and swore that she would never do whatever it was if she felt they either did or neglected in their parental actions and choices with their child. She added that her son reminded her of her father, saying he was so much like his grandfather on so many levels that he actually scared me. It made me worry about him even more than I naturally would have. 2 years after his death, she has not felt much relief from the tragic loss, and even worse, she blamed herself for his death. I already battle with and beat myself up tirelessly and chronically, blaming myself every single day, and that's hard enough to now live with. She confessed, adding that others will judge and blame you too, even secretly or behind your back, which is even more cruel and painful on top of everything else. She opined that grief does not stop or go away in any sense. A year or years after the loss, grief is something you will have to carry with you for the rest of your life, in spite of what certain people in our culture want us to believe. You do not get over it. You do not move on. Period, she wrote. So, hold on one second. Let me just So she has her mother and her, she leaves her mother and her 3 daughters behind, and you know, our thoughts and prayers are with them. And I'm sure her son was there. And her father to take her wherever she was going, you know. So. But anyway, sad thing. So, very sad. Too young for all. Her son, herself, for everyone. Too young. All right, now to Anna Walsh. So Anna Walsh, we have some updates on that. We have some, quite a few updates. So there is a newly discovered police, oh, let me get her picture up there, right? Hold on a minute. Okay. A newly discovered police complaint was filed by missing Massachusetts woman Anna Walsh prior to her marriage to Bryan, revealing trouble between the couple as far back as the summer of 2014. According to the public incident filed in Washington, D.C., Anna Knepp, which was her name back then, from her first marriage, said to the Metropolitan Police Department that Bryan Walsh made a statement over the telephone that he was going to kill her and a friend. That was dated August 2nd, 2014. It does not specifically name Bryan Walsh, but police confirm that he is the person associated with that complaint. Police said the investigation into potential offenses described as felony threats in the incident report was closed because Anna never cooperated with the investigation. No charges were ever filed, but the report is another potential sign that Bryan Walsh may not have been the man many thought him to be. He is still in custody in charge of misleading the investigation. The couple's children are in the custody of the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families. Let's see, we have some more stuff here going on. They show that Walsh's phone traveled, to different communities than where he was approved to travel. His defense attorney said her client has been incredibly cooperative with police. The couple was married in 2015. They have 3 sons together, 2, 4, and 6. He had a search on his computer for how to dispose of a 115-pound body. And I want to get to the Instagram photos. Hang on 1 second. Because there's also a note I want to discuss here. So, an eerie note written in bright red letters by Anna Walsh, looking forward to the new year ahead from a New Year's Eve party just hours before she disappeared. Wow, 2022, what a year, and yet we are still here and together. Let's make 2023 the best one yet. We are the authors of our lives. Courage, love, perseverance, compassion, and joy. Love, Anna. It's written on the side of a Lanson Noble champagne box. The champagne sits in the dining room of Anna and Bryan Walsh's Cohasset home, which appears to be largely untouched since the party, also attended by a family friend. Another side of the box reads, Jem, Anna, Bryan, 2023. And that's for their friend. They had the friend there, Jem Multa. And she previously claimed that nothing was amiss at the party, saying that we hugged and celebrated and we toasted, just what you do over New Year's. There was a lot of looking forward to the new year, and there was no indication of anything other than celebrating the new year, problems on hold. Jem said she left the party at 1:30 a.m. and that Bryan claims his wife woke up a little after 6 a.m., saying she had a work emergency to attend to in Washington, D.C., and left for the airport, and that's the last time he saw her, is what he says. Here's a copy of that note that's on the box. And let's see here. There was the Instagram photos that I want to go over. Hold on one second. She deleted some photos, edited some of them. Which showed an injury. So Anna wrote and posted a picture that said mild concussion, bruised hip, and cut, and hashtag vulnerability as the caption for an Instagram photo with a picture of a cut above her eye. While the picture was posted in 2018, she edited it 35 weeks ago, 2 weeks before submitting her letter to Judge Douglas Woodlock, urging him to impose a no-jail sentence on her husband in the art fraud. The letter was sent on June 1st, 2022, that her husband, Bryan Walsh, helped her mother through a traumatic health event. And this was the picture that she posted. Right there with the cut above her eye. And in that letter, she said, my mother suffered a major neurological event which caused a heavy hemorrhage. Not only did he save her life, her husband, but he also brought her and the entire family comfort and joy during the course of her illness. And I'm going to show you the letter that she wrote to the judge about the art fraud. This was June 1st, 2022, to the Honorable Judge Douglas P. Woodlock, 1 Courthouse Way, Boston, Mass. Dear Judge Woodlock, I am writing this letter to you to express my gratitude for having allowed Bryan to spend the last 8 months at home supporting his children and closest family members. During those 8 months, our family was able to be together during many of the milestones. Our youngest son turned 1. Our middle son started to speak, and our eldest son, who had just started kindergarten when we saw you last, is now only a few weeks away from completing the year and preparing for first grade. He also lost his first tooth. We also experienced some challenges. On December 21st, 2021, my mother suffered a major neurological event which caused heavy hemorrhage. Bryan was the one who heard my mother's sighs for help within seconds and immediately called me an emergency. He was quickly able to establish that she was in severe pain and that she needed immediate medical help. My mother was taken to the South Shore Hospital from our home, and then transferred to Brigham and Women's, where she received treatment and stayed for almost a month until she was stable enough to leave. And now, months later, she has made about 95% recovery, and she keeps repeating that she wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her son-in-law, Bryan. Not only did he save her life, but he also brought her and the entire family comfort and joy during the course of her illness. He furthermore remained positive and optimistic about her path to recovery, even when my sister and I were scared for my mother's life. He always believed she would achieve full recovery and would not give up on her even in the darkest moments. During my mother's illness and beyond, Bryan continued to be in contribution and focus on charity work, serve as a coach, while his Transformational Leadership Academy, within his Transformational Leadership Academy, continued to take care of his ailing elderly mother and be there for his sons day in and day out. Bryan has included our family, and especially our sons, in many of the charitable activities he has been partaking, whether it was walking for World Peace Day in Dorchester or stopping by the Pine Street Inn in Boston to drop off food and sanitary supplies. Bryan has been teaching our young boys from an early age how important it is to share the joy and be in contribution with time and resources. Bryan has been working consistently on breaking the past habits of his family, and we are all looking forward to the new chapter of his life. Thank you again for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Anna Walsh. Okay, so let's see if they have anything else here. Okay, that looks like that's what we have for Anna Walsh. Okay, so now let me see if anybody wants to come up on the Zoom. I am freezing. I'm going to turn on my heater behind me for a minute, so just 1 second. And I gotta find where you guys are. Oh, hello, Lone Wolf. Hi, Cassie. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry. Like, I know that I was late. If I'm late, that's because our internet was down for maintenance, unscheduled. So we didn't have any idea, and sorry, and I just figured I would do this. I'm not going to stay on much longer in here. On because I honestly don't know what I'm going to do about that other case. There's a number of reasons, so we'll see. I mean, if you want to look it up, you're able to look it up yourself there, and I don't know. There's also another thing with pure life living, or something like that. Pure Life Living, and they're talking about cyberbullying, and they were kicked off of YouTube, or not kicked off of YouTube, had to leave YouTube because it got so intense. And so they're doing a series this month and dedicating the entire month, and they're putting out this huge thing about who are the people behind these channels. And then today, I don't know, they must have got wind of them, and they said that all these groups that they were in started to shut down, and these people are heading for the hills, and that they had asked creators, because they told creators it's not a matter of if you're going to be abused on the platform, it's just a matter of when. And she was asking people to come forward with their stories, and apparently the people that have come forward with their stories are being abused again, which is why I'm saying, what do I want to do? Like, why? Again, like, isn't abuse enough is enough? It's incredible. I'm dealing with it another way. Behind the scenes, so I don't know that if I want to, I know a lot of people are asking, where's my video on that? I may just put out the video I already have on it to them because they do want something to share, but we'll see. But, yeah. What else? Let me just quickly, there was another case with, no, there's one more, Bryan Kohberger. I don't know if you guys saw Nancy Grace sitting in front of that house out there. Apparently, Elle told me that she literally, it was like one of those folding tables from Walmart or something that was out there as if like she was going to sell Girl Scout cookies, and somebody put Girl Scout cookies in front of her and stuff, because it was just so weird that she went there to just sit there in front of there on that little table. That was kind of weird. Like, I don't know. So I guess other people found it weird. But anyway, she claims an insider spoke to her, a neighbor of Bryan's, who did not want to be named or associated with him in any way. Grain of salt. Said that Kohberger's father asked them to be friends with the accused killer when Kohberger moved into an off-campus apartment at Washington State University, where he was a criminology graduate student. Said that we learned that his father, who seemed like a really nice guy, according to Kohberger's neighbor, asked the neighbor to be friends with Kohberger. It's like arranging a play date for my twins when they were 3 years old, Nancy Grace said. She said Kohberger's father said it's hard for his son to meet people or make friends. And then she says, but Nancy Grace has told some things that are not true many times. So, grain of salt. She said, this should surprise nobody. Number one, we watched his dad answer questions for him to a police officer. The fact that his dad would say, hey, make friends with my son, be his buddy, when his son is nearly 30, should tell you that the dad absolutely knows his son is not somebody who can navigate socially in this world by himself. One neighbor's wife said she didn't want to get to know Kohberger and refused to have him over for dinner since something about him didn't sit right. That's an arrested development, said a New York City psychologist, Karen Stark, who told that to Nancy. He's very much to himself. So these people are all, you diagnosing people from, just across the internet. And let's see, according to neighbors, when Kohberger learned about the murders, he said that police had no leads and it appeared to be a crime of passion. There was something about a silent scream, somebody said. I don't know what she's saying about a silent scream, but again, grain of salt, Nancy Grace, and she's sitting in front of the house with the table. Okay. Very odd. Very odd. There was another pretty gruesome case of a husband this one here. Weeks after the wedding. A Texas man admitted to killing his wife on Wednesday after police discovered her dismembered body in their home. Walter County deputies received a call from Jared Dickus, and that's D-I-C-U-S, his parents, from Jared's parents, regarding the death of a woman, reportedly leading them to a home where they found the woman's remains and copious amounts of blood. Jared and his wife, Angie Diaz, both 21, lived in a secondary home behind the parents' residence, where police believe the murder occurred with a kitchen knife. Waller County Sheriff Troy Guidry revealed that Diaz appeared to have been decapitated and her body was left in the secondary residence. Guidry said that Jared had confessed to the murder. Jared's parents were addressed by Jared, and when they saw something wasn't feeling right for them, they approached the house that they were living in, and that's when they found what they found. The sheriff said Jared is believed to have killed Angie the night before her body was found. Guidry said that cops previously responded to the home for disturbances. A motive has not been disclosed, but various reports indicate that Jared and Angie were married in October of 2022, and Jared is expected to face murder charges. So a Texas man has been arrested in connection with the September shooting that killed a pregnant woman and her unborn child. Jennifer Hernandez, 20, and her 17-year-old boyfriend had just left a Shell gas station in Harris County when Kaylin Hollins, 20, allegedly fired shots at them from a car. Hernandez died from her injuries while her boyfriend survived being shot twice. Hernandez was 8 months pregnant at the time with a baby boy who also died. A witness said that Hernandez was on the phone with her mother when she was mortally wounded, and the witness reportedly provided Hernandez's mother with directions to the location. The witness recalled Hernandez telling you, "She's not going to make it. I'm pretty sure she's not going to make it." A motive remains unclear. Hernandez's boyfriend reportedly told police that they had no interaction with Hollins before the shooting. Hollins has an extensive criminal history, which includes aggravated assault with bodily injury, theft, and evading arrest. At the time of the deadly shooting, he was reportedly out on bond for tampering and theft. On Thursday, a judge set Hollins' bond at $1,050,000. He is charged with capital murder and aggravated assault. Then a 15-year-old Ohio girl who was reported missing earlier this month was found fatally shot on Monday. Police described the teen as a habitual runaway whose parents contacted authorities as they believed there was something different about her latest disappearance. The murdered girl's mother told the news station that they last saw her on December 31st, 2022. While her death is being investigated as a homicide, additional details were not provided. Toledo police said that her death has no connection to the unsolved 2010 slaying of her father, DeAndre Green. Okay, so going on here? ISIS beetle dubbed Jihadi George disappears from a U.S. prison following a life sentence for torture and murder. Okay. How does that happen? He disappeared. Let's see. Jihadi George no longer appears on U.S. custody records at Pennsylvania's high-security Canaan prison. Sentenced to life in prison in August after pleading guilty to 8 counts of abduction, torture, and the beheading of Western hostages, his name has now seemingly been scrubbed from the Federal Bureau of Prisons records. The changes relate to his actions in Syria between 2012 and 2015. He was infamously linked to 3 other Brits fighting for the terrorist group, namely, Ari Davis, Shafi, Sheikh, and Mohammed Mzwazi, dubbed Jihadi John. When searched, his name is not listed in BOP custody, so maybe they changed his name. Cody accepted a plea deal in return for a more lenient sentence, which notably included cooperation requirements. The plea deal also meant that he was allowed to serve out his time in Canaan as opposed to ADX Florence Prison in Colorado, nicknamed the Alcatraz of the Rockies. It's remained unknown why he seemingly vanished from reports, but a spokesperson for the prison confirmed that he is not currently in the custody of the Bureau of Prisons under that name. He has noted several reasons why an inmate could be listed as such, but did not elaborate. Inmates who were previously in BOP custody and who have not completed their sentence may be outside BOP custody for a period of time for court hearings, medical treatment, or for other reasons. Let's see. I hope they have him somewhere. They're not saying that he escaped, which is what they tried to make it sound like. Okay. Okay. Okay, and they're searching now for Madalena Kojikari, 150 miles away. Remember, her stepfather made that trip. North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation agents in Madison County are looking for surveillance footage as part of the continued search for 11-year-old Madalena Kojikari, who disappeared from Cornelius in late November. Madalena's mother, Diana, waited 3 weeks to report her daughter missing because she feared her husband and Madalena's stepfather, Christopher Palmater, would put the family in danger, and she feared confrontation with him. Kojikari and Palmater are currently in jail, and they were charged with failing to report Madalena's disappearance. Cornelius police asked the public for information about a Toyota Prius driven by one of the family members in Madison County between November 22nd and December 15th, the day the missing girl was reported missing. Madison County is the mountainous far west of North Carolina. It's about 150 miles from Cornelius, where the family lives. The family has no known connection to Madison County. Sources say that a Madison County deputy encountered Diana Kojikari at a pull-off on US 25 near Lonesome Mountain Road. State investigators, along with Cornelius police and deputies, searched that area, as well as the rural Revere community deep in the mountains off of US 25. Residents told the station that agents were dropping off flyers seeking surveillance footage, going door to door and asking specifically about the Toyota Prius. It's the weirdest thing ever. Your mind starts going with it. Have I ever seen these people, said a resident, Elliot Nicholson. Have I seen them anywhere? Terry Treadway, who lives in the remote Revere community with her husband, said they were meeting with agents to download video from their surveillance cameras. If I knew something, I would move heaven and earth to get this girl back home, she said. I have kids. It's very disturbing to me. Diana Kojikari reported her daughter missing on December 15th, and that was only after repeated attempts to contact her by school officials. Kojikari said she last saw her daughter on November 23rd, although police say the last verified sighting of the girl was November 21st, when she was videoed getting off of a school bus that you see right there. Investigators have seized cell phones, emails, credit cards, cell phone data, and banking information in the course of the investigation. They believe the girl's parents know much more than they're leading on. Prayer she's found safe by some miracle, but it's not looking good. It's so bad. It's so sad. And I'm going to say, what did you say? Memphis is going to explode. Lisa Marie will be coming home forever now. I hope we don't lose Graceland. Why would you lose Graceland? She still has all of her 3 girls, and her mother is still alive. Lisa had a lot of sadness in her heart since her son's death. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Did the daughter survive? Which daughter? Whose daughter? That little girl on the school bus? We don't know. She's missing. Yeah, I don't think you'll lose Graceland. Are you right there, Wilo? Anyway, so I did put this Slack number in. I don't know whether my volume is lowered, but the Slack number is in Slack. And I think what is that? I don't know, I'm trying to read. Oh, I'm in top chat. I think I know why. Top chat. Chat. Let me just, before we go, let me just check, let me check on updates on Twitter of cases that we're covering here. So, Jennifer Coffendorfer, that FBI agent, is saying about the latent shoe prints. She believes it wasn't visible and likely why it was not found until a subsequent visit by the evidence recovery team. A latent print is one that's not visible. Yeah, okay. And that's what you said? We knew that that's not. I thought she was going to say why did she think it. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. She's just saying the definition of one. All right. Okay, so let me look at. Okay, let's see. Sheriff said the cuts are from shaving. Let's see. No bail. Preliminary hearing again is June 26th. It's expected to last 4 to 5 days. So that's all that we have on that. And singer-songwriter Pink said the world lost a rare gem today with Lisa Marie Presley. May your soul rest in peace, friend. Picture of Lisa with her father, Elvis. And And let's see, Nicolas Cage said that Lisa had the greatest laugh of anyone I ever met. She lit up every room, and I am heartbroken. I find some solace believing she is reunited with her son, Benjamin. And her and her mother were just at the doing awards for this young man played Elvis in a movie that he won a Golden Globe for, so she did see that with her mother. That was on the 10th. And I'll leave it at that. Rest in peace. Let's see what else here. Yeah, just I don't know. There's all the one left behind, right? Okay, so let me go really quick. I think I heard somebody leaving super chats. Thank you. Oops. Thank you, Elle, for the super chat, and thank you to Wilo Wick for the super chat. Thank you both. I appreciate that very much. Hi, Annie B. Hi, Heart Made Wise. We're gonna leave it at Annie B. Ask Carolyn to put your- I don't get the link on it. It's usually on the, you can't see the community posts. All right, I'll email you now. I think I just put it in Slack, but let me email you right now, Annie B, before I forget. Okay. Trying to find the, oh, where the heck is it? Where's Slack? I just put it in there. Did I not open my email? Oh boy. All right. All right, Annie, I'm putting it in. Okay, so Annie. I think this is, I hope that I've got that right. Okay. Okay. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it a night because we're going to be around very soon again. So the number's in Slack. Annie, I emailed it to you. All right, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, right? Well, today. What time is it? Yeah, it's almost today. I'm going to go and lay down. So if anybody wants to come in Slack, they better come in so I can make them a moderator, because I'm going to go lay down. This is it's been a really emotional day for me because of certain things with all right, so if you're going to come in, please come in so I can make you a host. Okay. All right, I'm just going to close out then, and if you, I don't know if somebody's having a problem with the number, I'm sure you would say that, but all right. We'll see. Good night, everybody. God bless. Prayers for all. Okay? And especially the family of Lisa Marie, and of course, the mission to rest in peace with her loved ones. The link's not in Slack? Wait a minute. The link's not in Slack? Where did I put it? Oh, gosh. I emailed it to Chris Ree instead. I was wondering what the heck was going on. Okay. Like, what is going on? Okay, see, there's, okay. Coming out now. All right, so.
Hey, Carol.
Hi, Liza. Hi, Linda. Okay, let me go now. No, everybody's good. Willowick, thank you for becoming a deputy railroad for 23 months. Okay, so now I will end up, that's what it is. I was wondering, no one knows coming in. All right, guys, we'll see you in there. You're having a problem, Ellie? What's going on?
There she is, probably.
Al, the number's in Slack. Do you see it? I just put it back in there. It wasn't in general. Go check now. Go check. I'll wait to see if you have a problem.
She learned how to do it. She knows.
Well, I hope so.
She does. Yeah.
No, yeah, I know. I just no, she can't see it. Go back in Slack again, Al. It's in general. I just put it there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna email you.
Questions, General.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Juliana's coming in. Okay.
I don't know if you saw my message, but I'm sending you giant hugs.
Oh, thanks. Juliana, did I email you?
Questions, General. Yes, me too, Carolyn.
Thanks, Juliana's coming in. Okay.
This is hard. This is really hard.
Yes, it is.
Did you get it? You still can't get it now? Hold on, I'll send it to you.
You're breaking my heart reading what Lisa Marie said.
Really hard.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm sending it to you, Al.
Get it now? Hold on, I'll send
Oh,
it
here
to
she
you.
is.
You're breaking my heart reading what Lisa Marie said. Yes,
Let me see.
it is.
Okay, I'm sending it to you.
All right, so we're gonna go now and see you guys tomorrow. Anybody that remembers Patreon's coming in the Zoom. If you can't find the link, you can send me an email, and while I'm up, I can give it to you. All right, thank you guys. God bless. Prayers for all. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, so we're gonna go now and see you guys tomorrow.